South American Indians. America was now no longer to be concealed from the European world, and if Columbus had not secured the triumph of its discovery for human intellect, that event would thus have been brought about by the agency of the elements. On the Thursday at daybreak they stood right for the land, the lighter vessels going before and sounding as they went, till they came within half-league of the shore, where at 10 o'clock the whole squadron anchored in 9 fathoms opposite the mouth of a river. Nicolau Coelho, the same person who had commanded one of the ships in Vasco da Gama's celebrated voyage, was sent to examine the river. By that time that he entered it, some 20 savages had assembled on the beach, armed with bows and arrows, being ready for defense, but not intending to act as enemies unless they found themselves in danger. They were of a dark copper color and entirely naked. Coelho made signs to them that they should lay down their weapons, which they readily obeyed. A friendly intercourse ensued, and the Portuguese who had hitherto found that either Arabic or some of the Negro languages were understood wherever they had advanced in their discoveries, so little expected to meet with any unintelligible tongue, that when the two parties failed to understand each other's words, they imputed it to the impossibility of making themselves distinctly heard because of the noise which a rough sea made upon the shore. This is a statue of the standing woman of gold, Cerro Ladrino Blanco, Peru, 200 BC to 800 AD. Amicable exchange of presents, however, was effected. Coelho gave a red beret cap, a linen hood, which he wore himself, and a black hat, and he received in return 2 headdresses composed of feathers and a large string of small beads which resembled inferior pearls. The weather prevented any farther intercourse. During the night it blew hard from the southeast, and on the following morning Cabral, by advice of the pilots, weighed anchor and stood alongshore to the north in search of a harbor. 3 or 4 score of the savages had assembled at the mouth of the river in expectation of another visit when the squadron departed. Having processed about 10 leagues, they hit upon the only harbor in that of the coast which affords shelter for large vessels. The commander immediately named it Porto Seguro. The name has been erroneously transferred to a place 4 leagues south, where the city has been built, and the port in which Cabral anchored is now called Cabralia. Alfonso Lopez, one of the pilots, was sent to sound the harbor. He returned with 2 natives whom he had caught in a canoe fishing. One of them had a bow and arrow. Many of their countrymen were upon the beach, armed with the same weapons, but notwithstanding this act of aggression, they made no attempt to annoy the Portuguese. The 2 prisoners were both well-made young men, and their features being compared with those of the negroes, they were thought handsome. They were without the slightest clothing, and the Portuguese had thus an opportunity of remarking that they were not circumcised, a point which their conversance with Mohammedan nations made them notice. One of them had a most elaborate ornament of the back of the head, composed of yellow feathers, every feather firmly fixed to the hair by a white cement, which was supposed to not be wax, though it resembled it. It was about 2 feet long, thick, round, and bushy like a wig.